Okay, so we got a replay from Happy. Now I'm going to pause this just really quickly. Okay, so wow, this is an interesting base. Let's take a look at the lineup. We've got 9 giants. Now, interestingly enough, a lot of people think that it requires golems to do any of the GoWiPe or GoWiwi type attacks. But in honesty, you can actually substitute out 5 giants for 1 golem, and so long as you're attacking a side that doesn't have a lot of spring traps, or there's at least a reasonable assumption that there aren't too many spring traps, then they'll actually last pretty long, especially if you can get them to the point where they're healing. Now, what I really like about this composition is that this does give you access a little bit later on to the giant. So not Gowiwi, but GoWiwi, and that's just let's see, 15, about somewhere between 15 and 20, 15 and 20 giants. Maybe just call it a solid 18 giants. Split up into 3 different groups, backed up by wizards and witches, and deployed in a similar fashion to what I was just pointing out earlier with the earlier GoWiwi raid. So when you're attacking a base like this, this was a gimme. He had his town hall on the outside, but the goal of any GoWiPe raid is to make sure that you get your P.E.K.K.A.s into the core of the base. Now, there are a lot of different ways to do this, but the best way that you want to try to emulate, the best method that you want to try to emulate is to pick off the bases into thirds, and then think about going into the bases using these lanes. Now, the thing about P.E.K.K.A.s that really puts people off with using them is that they have a tendency to favor exposed buildings, no matter where they are. So, people who get into the habit of deploying everything from one position will find that at some point the P.E.K.K.A.s will get distracted by these exterior details. So that's why it's really important to make sure that you're splitting up the base into manageable sections, and that you're peeling off those sections before the P.E.K.K.A.s get a chance to dive in. Now, the other trick that I wanted to point out, and I mentioned this in one of my earlier videos, is that one of the mistakes that I see is when people hold their P.E.K.K.A.s back. So they'll start clearing out all this trash, and then once all of these guys are down, they'll throw a P.E.K.K.A. down. Now, the problem here is that, again, take into consideration the fact that one thing that they do is they favor exposed buildings. Despite the fact that you drop them here, and that this would technically be the next, as far as the targeting sequence is concerned, that this would be the next target, it's actually not. It would be this one, or possibly even this one, or any of these other exterior defenses. So they drop these P.E.K.K.A.s, and then they go all Benny Hill, and you have a lost raid, because they're taking the scenic tour of the base and getting pummeled by the point defenses. And the whole idea with deploying those raids is that you're taking down the point defenses as quickly as possible. I don't worry so much about the splash damage, because they can't really do anything to the P.E.K.K.A.s. These things have like 3,000 hit points, so 30 DPS is not really going to do anything. But if you find a concentration of DPS, for instance, these guys out here, I would definitely attack this side of the base for, I think I would still attack this side of the base, and I would favor trying to take out these 4-point defenses before anything else, because there's nothing really else that could hurt the rest of your raid once you get those point defenses down. So anyway, let me shut up for a second, and let's take a look at Happy's raid. And Happy, thanks for sharing this. Let's see what you did. Play. Okay, now that this was, sorry, I can't shut up here. This was one of the things that I had pointed out in an earlier video, and that was to take a golem in your CC. This is one of the better uses of the CC, because what this allows you to do is to do precision placements of your DPS. So rather than dump 7 wizards out onto maybe a giant bomb, you can spread them out. And this gives you a lot of strategic options for precision placements of your DPS troops, and leaving this to just drop 1 troop, which is fine, because you don't really need that much precision with dropping the golem. So great use there. Giants, he dumped. How many did you have? I think it was 9 giants all in one spot. So 1 golem, 9 giants. One dragon. Here come the wizards. So one of the things that I wanted to that I pointed out again in one of my earlier raids, and yes, he did 3-star this base, but this is one of those nuances that will ensure that everybody's moving at the same pace. And that's that I deploy DPS here and DPS here, pause, and then DPS in the center. But let's see how this plays out. Smart use of the rage there. Anytime you start to encounter the CC troops, you have your option of just dropping a rage to help process them a little bit faster. If you had witches in this pack and it wasn't a dragon and maybe something else, that would have been a great use of rage. That's just kind of an FYI. So yeah, the lightning's not really going to do anything there because it's a dragon, but you know, it's all good. Okay, yeah. So this is the one problem with using giant Gowiwi. Can't believe I just said that. With using giants with wizards and witches, is that they are susceptible to spring traps. So if that means splitting them up, you know, into packs, maybe that's the way to go. But you know, this is a pretty low level base, and you've got pretty high level troops. Since you're Town Hall 9, the expectation would probably be that you would have to attack a Town Hall 9. So if we can get another replay going with you guys hitting Town Hall 9s and doing this, then let's have at it. So yeah, at this point, the P.E.K.K.A.s are down. The nice thing about this is that I think the Barbarian King had actually sucked them in. I'm not sure what was available here, but something drew the P.E.K.K.A.s in to make sure that they went to the core. I was expecting that they would go around the outside, kind of like the way this Archer Queen did. But what can you do? Okay, you know, he's got the jump going. The P.E.K.K.A.s are in the core. They're taking care of the Barbarian King, and at this point now, here comes the problem. Your entire set of forces are, you know, staring down the barrel of a bunch of point defenses, and they still have to fight through a bunch of walls to get to them. And this is one of those scenarios where things start to get a little bit dicey. Again, you overpowered this base. This was a brute force attack. There was no way this guy was surviving, no matter what happened. But the nuance that I would have changed here, because this was not a symmetrical base, I probably would have favored attacking the side that had the more point defenses. Once you take them down, all your P.E.K.K.A.s have to do at that point is face splash defenses. So, but you can't argue with the results. You got 3 stars, so great job there. All right, let me just see if I can catch up with the comments here. Okay, sweet, sweet loot. So let me just pause here and mention just a couple of things. You know, a lot of people are talking about GoWiPe attacks and GoWiwi attacks and hybrid attacks using air and ground. When you're learning this composition, the one thing or the mindset that I want you to approach every base with is setting up your guardrails. If you're going to use them, you're not necessarily going to use them in every case, because there are times when line deployments work just as well as using guardrail deployments. But you always want to make sure that you are deploying your troops in such a way that the order that the buildings go down in leave a set of buildings. Sorry, hang on a second. Oops. That's my microphone falling. Hang on. Hang on a second. I'm just going to fast forward to the end of here and then just replay this. Okay, so again, you want to make sure that you are favoring the destruction of these exterior buildings, and then leaving these things to be the only targets left to have to attack. Now, the reason that this is important is because you have to remember the targeting sequence of troops that are not defense-led troops. Defense-led troops are things like giants and hogs and balloons. Everything else is just, you know, whatever. But again, what they'll do is they will typically favor an exposed building to one that's enclosed. So even if this one's available, they may not necessarily go for it, especially when it comes to the case of the king, the queen, the P.E.K.K.A.s, anything like that. So the trick for getting around this is corralling them. and then dropping your P.E.K.K.A.s here so that once they get to here, or better yet, they take out this building, take this building, and then curve inward to take out this last building along with the third P.E.K.K.A. Once they take out this building, the only thing that's left is that. And notice the distance here. Now, if you were to wait till all of these were down, let's just do a quick comparison here. If you were to wait till all of these buildings were down and then drop your P.E.K.K.A., since this is still behind the wall, guaranteed it would probably go towards the town hall or any of these other structures. So get those P.E.K.K.A.s on the field as early as you can. All right, let me close that. Sure. Okay. Yeah, I don't. Sorry. Let me just talk about that. Let me just talk about that really quickly. Hang on a second. Let me get some witches cooked up for JM. All right, so Yuli, that concept that I was talking about, guardrail deployments, the biggest enemy that your troops have are these exterior buildings when you're playing around with GoWiwi and GoWiPe. Now, I can probably the best way to show you this is show you what happens when you don't set up guardrails. And again, I'm not knocking on anybody here. We had a bunch of failed attacks for a lot of different reasons, but this is me trying to fix some of those issues. Let's take a look at this base. Okay, I think this is one of those scenarios where the P.E.K.K.A.s got deployed a little late and then they just went Benny Hill on the base. So let's take a look. Okay, he's on this. Dumping the clan castle. Pulling them off into the right-hand corner. Now this is tough. These types of bases where they put their splash defenses out on the corners, it really makes pulling hard. I wouldn't have even bothered on a base like this. I would have just dealt with them in place. But this base design is a really popular base design, at least up in champs. It compartmentalizes a lot of these interior and high hit point buildings, so it makes it really tough to get towards that town hall. This is a very effective base design, and this interestingly enough, this base design also works for Town Hall 9. So let's see what happened here. This wasn't, yeah, now that I think about it, I don't think this was the, oops. Yeah, no, this wasn't the raid that I was thinking about. Chris got his P.E.K.K.A.s on the field early, and they were able to go into the core of the base because those openings were already there. But just bear with me 1 second while I find that other raid. See, this is the problem with this interface. Let's see, OGG. Is it this one? I think so. Let's see. You know what, before I go into this, I wanted to point something out really quickly that I didn't get the chance to tell a lot of people when I saw this base. This base is something called a Southern Teaser. And what a Southern Teaser is that it opens up all of this in such a fashion so as to tease you from attacking from the south. This is, if you ever encounter this base, don't ever attack it from the south. If anything, come in through the side. It is possible to attack this base from the north, but it's extremely difficult because of the spacing of these buildings. What will end up happening is you come in through here, and then your troops would end up getting directed to the outside of the base. It almost split like the Red Sea. The most effective way to tackle these bases a lot of times is to come in directly from the sides, and then just use a jump spell to get into that last pocket. And what makes this really difficult from attacking from the top is that you need to bring like 1 million wall breakers, because Wall breakers will come in and take out that structure. And another tip about wall breakers is that they will only attack compartments that have buildings inside of them. So this base is designed with these little bumpers here, and you would think that maybe attack this and then the wall breaker would come into here. That's not the case. They'll come here and then start to careen off to the side to go after these buildings. And then once they're done there, they're not going to go for this pocket down in here. They'll actually go for these pockets out here. Now, if you've only got level 5 wall breakers, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and you're not anywhere near the core. So that's why attacking from this side is really not the way to go. You could probably attack from the northeast or the northwest, but again, you would just have to bring a boatload of wall breakers. Now, having seen these at champs and seen a lot of high-level gameplay, what I have noticed is that the most effective way to attack these teasers is from the side. And the side presents you with the fewest pockets, but it also presents you with this structure right here, where you can drop your jump spell and then jump everybody in. So once you take care of these exterior buildings, jump right there, and you're into the core of the base. What you don't want to have happen is that you don't want them to start careening off in down this lane, and that's typically what will end up happening because of the spacing here. There's quad Teslas here, and probably bombs here, and because of this spacing, when say this goes down, the next closest unprotected target is going to be this, and then this, and then this, and then this, and before you know it, all of your troops have all kind of careened off to the side. So sorry, I went off on a bit of a tangent there, but Yuli, to answer your question, what guardrails are? If you are looking at these buildings, let's just go over a couple scenarios here. Let's say you were to drop all of your P.E.K.K.A.s right here from the start. They would attack this base and then split. They would attack this building. When this building goes down, they would split and then attack these two buildings. And then when these go down, they would attack this, and then this, and then this, and then that. So what will have effectively happened at that point is they will have come here and then split. Now, that's not ideal because you want them to stay together as a pack until they're in the core of the base, and then they can split. And the only way to do that is to ensure that the only targets that they have left are the ones that you want them to hit. One of the reasons why you lose P.E.K.K.A.s is that you leave them targets on the outside to go and attack, and then that's when they go all Benny Hill. The way that you get around this is to set up something called guardrails, and guardrails are nothing more than just wizards that are tasked with taking out the distractions. So they take out those buildings, they take out those buildings. Once they're done, they'll come in here, pinch in there, and then that'll only leave these 3 buildings left for the P.E.K.K.A.s. So what'll happen here is you drop a P.E.K.K.A. here, drop a P.E.K.K.A. here, drop a P.E.K.K.A. here. Late, you would pause on that 3rd deployment. This building would go down, this building would go down, and then so long as this building is still up, they'll both come up to here, and now you'll have all of your P.E.K.K.A.s in one spot. And then at that point, you can start attacking the base. And if you didn't do that, then they would split and then just go around the base. So that's what guardrails are. So much buffering. That's okay, man. I'm actually recording this, and I'll put this back out. Okay, so we've got about 9 people in the channel. Okay, so we looked at this a little bit earlier, but I want to show you a good example of the way that guardrails are set up. The attack on DZ, man, this thing was a work of art. An impressive attack for a lot of different reasons, but the most impressive was that it was the number 24 guy that 3-starred him. So I'd expect you guys to be able to do the same. Before we go into this replay, I'll just lay out a couple of things here. Again, this is a great base, lots of pockets, lots of ways to redirect the troops. The internal placement of the ADs makes this susceptible to air attacks, and that's what this guy had ended up doing. Once he got all of his troops into the core, he launched the other half of his attack, which was an air attack. But what this guy did was he set up. Close that. He set up guardrails here, guardrails here, and then sent in the majority of his force through that side. Dropped the jump right there to ensure that everything got into the core, and then once all the air defenses were down, he launched his balloon raid to take out the remaining defenses. So let's watch this all go down. Now, one thing I want to point out here that he did that was really impressive was this is the way that you use golems and giants. You use them to draw fire to give your wall breakers time to get in and start making those openings. Now, once they're down, now that probably wasn't really necessary because you could have just used the golems for that. Now, this golem, again, he favors anything that is unprotected, so he ends up wandering down this side. I showed you guys a replay of my base. That's exactly what happened on my base too. I redirected the golems around my core, exposing their DPS. So these golems are setting up this guardrail. This wizard up here is setting up this guardrail. Now notice, the only thing that's left... Damn. Notice the only thing that's left is these buildings here. So these guys have nowhere to go except into the core of the base. They'll hit this pocket. They probably could have blasted their way through that, but just to be safe, he brought a jump spell anyway. I think, but let's see. So he's got his witches down. They're spawning distractions for the wizards. He's got his jump spell down, his heal spell down. That's interesting. He botched that rage deployment there. I didn't even see that the first time. Wow. He still 3-starred this base. Sorry, DZ. Anyway, oh, so that's right. That's what he did. He dropped one golem and then a bunch of troops and swapped them out for balloons. So mind you, at this point, the golems are still here. They're still soaking up this piddly damage. And this is like throwing marshmallows at an elephant out here. Nothing's going to happen to these guys. Meanwhile, the rest of these guys are going gangbuster in the core, and they're about to take down the air defenses. Once the air defenses come down, boy, that's when the pain starts. This is such an interesting attack. And the worst part was that I tried this attack and I failed miserably. So that was my contribution to our public sub. See, so at that point, the air defenses are down, balloon attack is launched, and yeah, well, we all know how this one ended. Okay, now I know you guys have questions. Oh, you know what? Let's take a look at... Hang on one second, guys. Be right back. Just got to respond to an instant message. Okay. Now I did want to cover one attack. I had discussed this attack with. Okay, we'll look at 9. We'll look at that one. I'm looking for Crest's attack. Okay, this is it. Now Crest did a funny thing that we've always wanted to try to do against really tough opponents. He copied his match's base, and we checked to see how he actually attacked the base. And the interesting thing is, they both attacked the exact same side, and came up with almost the exact same result. Used almost the exact same spells and everything. I think the only difference was that Crest's walls were a little bit lower. But when we were talking about this, let me just get this up. When we were planning this attack, I told him to set up his... Ooh, that's not the right one. When we were planning this attack, I told him to set up these guardrails here. And that would leave, these buildings available for everyone to go in. Now, the one thing that concerned me the most about this base was this pocket right here. Once this guy went down, once that guy went down, once that guy went down, The only place for the troops to go is to congregate into this one spot. And the reason that's a problem is because splash defense, splash, 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 all raining DPS down on that one spot. In retrospect, we probably should have sent in maybe just an extra P.E.K.K.A. and maybe fewer wizards, because pretty much everything got slaughtered once they got into that pocket. He was, they were beefy enough to survive, but you'll see what I mean in just a sec. So again, guardrails, wait for a second. Once those all go down, then, oh, and sorry, just one more tip there. When you're going up against these low HP structures, I think these are only about 750 hit points if these are maxed. One wizard is enough to take out these guys. But obviously another wizard would need to get deployed to take this guy, to take this storage down. Because that's like, I want to say that's like 55. How many hit points is this? 2,000 hit points, excuse me. And then these army camps are the other one. They're 1,200 hit points. So the goal when you're setting up your guardrails is to make sure that everybody advances at the same rate. So when buildings go down on this side, the buildings go down on this side at the same time. If they don't, then you run the risk of, and then you end up dropping your troops. You run the risk of the troops wandering off onto the corner. So, sorry. Long story short, 2 wizards here, 2 wizards here. Wait until they're until you've got a reasonable level of certainty that they're going to go down, and then start dropping the rest of your troops here, along with your wall breakers. And mind you, the prerequisite here is that the golems are down soaking up damage, and while they're doing that, your guardrail team's going in there and creating a path to lure your troops into the core. So let's take a look at that replay. Yeah, the murder hole, that's exactly right. So here we go. He's got 1, 2... Okay, so he dropped his clan castle with his 1 golem. That's taking out these troops here and these troops here. He's got his guardrail team here, 3 wizards, 2 wizards down here. And mind you, he hasn't sent anything in. Once the defenses are plugged, once the defenses are attracted, he's safe to send in his wall breakers. So 2 of those for skull wall, and they're in. And then 5 more to take out this wall. Now that was a really important thing to do, just to give the golems something to actually go and attack once they got in and took out that air defense. Okay, wow. Really smart use of a rage there. And it's really amazing with this pause button, because we're only, I don't know what, 30 seconds into the raid, and already he's done like 15 different actions. The rage is great for accelerating the wall breakers and getting them to the point where 1 or 2 of them will be enough to take down these legal walls. Without a rage, you would need 3 of them, but with a rage, I think 2 is enough, maybe 1, but I'm not sure on that. Okay, so at this point, mind you, this is a fantastic conclusion here, because there's only 1 building left for the P.E.K.K.A.s to go to, and rather than go out here, these P.E.K.K.A.s will target this building. Once that building goes down, these internal buildings are already available. It'll target something internally and then start to move in. Same thing with the witches. Notice they took down that building, and now their next target's going to be this cannon and then that air defense. So another really cool thing that happens here is that the clan castle starts to dump out. If you ever run into an issue where you run out of targets to target and then things start to go loopy, the clan castle can actually save you in scenarios like that, because they will attract your troops to wherever they are, so long as they're in aggro range. So yeah, this is what I was talking about. Everything consolidated into this one pocket, and then just everything started raining DPS down on this. Now again, he went in with really high level troops, and those were the ones that survived, but this was a really dicey part of the raid. Used his lightning, great job there. Let's see what's going on. I can't even see what's going on in here. Okay, let's take a look. We've got the defending queen. Barbarian king is off to the side doing something, I don't know what. These wizards are going to get roasted by that whiz tower. Same thing there, because whatever splash damage is hitting the golems is also hitting those wizards. Okay. Yeah, see, wizards trained on them, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wizards in a pack. There's nothing that's really going to save them. except for that heal. So that's a great job there. Interestingly enough, the wall breakers didn't even break through this. This is one of the things that I told them would happen, and that's that the troops would end up fighting their way through that wall. They're healed, they're under a rage, and they have the queen to attract them in. So they're going gangbuster right now and ignoring these troops and going straight for the queen, but they had to fight through a wall to get to her. So once the queen goes down, they redirect their attack, and now they're going after the wizard tower. So once that's down, now the actual attack begins. There was so much ancillary damage happening in that small pocket of space that the town hall went down. Well, I don't even know what. I don't know if it was the Archer Queen or some of the other wizards, but yeah. So yeah, I mean, at that point, he's in the core. And, this is one of those scenarios where you've achieved your objective, but now you're staring down the barrel of, 20 different point defenses. A lot of times, really, the only way that you can deal with this is to attack this base in lanes instead of doing a core dive like this. I personally don't know which one is more effective, but this base makes it really difficult to do lanes because of these structures here on the sides. No matter what ends up happening, they end up funneling your troops into this one little murder hole. Right there. And but all in all, he was successful in getting the 2-star. Just chucked boatloads of DPS into the core, and then was able to get the 2-star there. So great job. Hang on, I bumped up the gain on the mic. Let me know if that's not too high. Okay. Mont has the audio. Plus 20 dB. I hope I didn't blow anyone's eardrums. Okay, let me, so go, Lavalunian. Bear with me 2 seconds. I want to get this, give me a couple seconds to just get this set up. Oh, here we go, to window. Okay. Okay, I had to switch off to a browser here. Okay, close that. Okay, so I came across this. Now, actually, before I get into this, I just want to point one quick thing out. There is a sub, a Reddit sub. This is the URL up in the top. It's Diamond Wolf M Clashing. And what this is it's a master sub of all of the public subs. So this is how I get my news. And if anything interesting comes up, at least Clash of Clans related, that's happening inside the other clans, this is where I got it. And this is also where I got that link to that Yuku link that I sent earlier is actually something that the guys from Ice Baby, one of the top clan war clans, put together. And so let me set up a little context here. What happened was Ice Baby and some Asian clan, I'm not exactly sure on which one, they got matched up, and they both had something like 70 some odd wins. So it was a tier 1 TH10 completely maxed to the gills clan up against another one. Both of them had 70 wins, and it turns out that in the end, Ice Ice Baby was actually able to beat them by only about 3 or 4 points. Now, the interesting thing about this is that, again, they're all Town Hall 10s, and they're all maxed out, level 40 heroes, whole 9 yards. They were going in and 3-starring other Town Hall 10 bases, and these were maxed bases, and it's like 90% of the raids on this channel. So I'm not sure if this was the one, but hang on a second, because they've been adding videos to this. So the question that Gogo was asking was if I could do a Lavalunian raid. I should have just bookmarked that video, but let me see if I can find it. I'm on Yuku streaming. Oh, what happened here? Those wacky Asians. What the hell? I have no idea what I'm looking at. I think this is an ad. Yeah, not gonna bother with that. What did this guy do? Anyway, you know what? I'm not gonna cover this here. If somebody wants to go through this channel and just post me the link to which one of these was the Lavalunian raid. I think what happened is that they've been adding videos, and the one that I posted is probably pushed down a little further. Generally speaking, though, Gogo, just to answer your question, the Lavalunian raids were 2. At least the one that I saw, it was 2 lava hounds. There were 24 balloons, and then the balance was 2 freezes, 2 rages, and I think maybe a heal in there. Let's see here. Nope. Okay. Oops. Okay, who else needs what? Yeah, Mont, that little hiss is that's the fan going on the laptop, because it's going into overdrive right now. It's encoding the stream, it's recording the stream, and then it's also playing this emulator on top of that. So anyway, let's see. Let's go over a couple more raids. Let me see if I can find that one raid here. So 45%. All right, bear with me, guys. Is this the one? Oh no, nope. Just curious to see what happened here. 47% raid. He must have gotten the town hall, but then nothing else. Yeah, no, this is one of those scenarios where it would have been awesome to have brought just a couple of extra archers, because they could have taken out this building here, that building there, maybe 1 or 2 of the buildings down here, just to secure that extra 5%. Okay. Pathing looks good here. All the troops are in range of the clan castle, and he was able to get them through the moat across the moat into the core of the base. But then, I don't know what happened after that. Whoa, you went in with archers? Take those wizards, man. Take those wizards. Yeah, I mean, you know, pretty straightforward raid there. Brute force got into the core, got the 2-star, or 1-star, excuse me. Don't know what happened there. All right, let's take a look. What's going on here? Oop. Huh. Yes, Yuli, that got my attention, thanks. How do I fix it? Okay, let me just